Hello, this is a View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Wednesday, the 12th of June, 2024. My name is Patrick Smith. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and all that normal sort of stuff. If you're watching along live, welcome. You can join us and drop comments down the side. You can also listen to us on your normal podcast providers. On this week's show, we're going to have a bit of a catch-up over what's happened over the last couple of months and look at the roster as it stands. We'll also be joined by JJ Piccinich and Tom McCollum. Adam Keefe will be dropping by for a few words, and we will be revealing the next name on the Belfast Giants roster for the 2024-25 season. Stay tuned for that. Mr. McJimsey, I always love when it comes to this time of the year, Davy, because I just look out that back window and the sunshine coming in. How's life? Are you on mute, Davy? I can't hear a word.
Teething problems, have we?
There we go. There we go.
Teething problems. I'd give you a really good answer there too. Life is as complicated now as it was at the end of the hockey season. I can hear the cows behind me going mental. Lovely.
The cows, you sure?
Well, that's moving swiftly on, gentlemen. Moving swiftly on.
And Mr. Kitchen, sorry I didn't see you in Portugal.
I know, mate. No, it would have been nice to catch up with you.
One of those, wouldn't it?
I don't really look at the social media an awful lot more. And it was Jasmine that pointed out the day after you were in Albufeira. And we're literally 5 minutes away from Albufeira. So, no, but unfortunately, you'd already been there and gone.
He texted me, mate. There's Paddy's in Albufeira. No chance I want to spend any time.
Not going anywhere near it, mate.
Yeah,
it was lovely out there as well. 27, 28 degrees, just sort of perfect sort of weather.
Really good.
Lovely. Right, gents, well, let's get cracking because we have, in about 10 minutes' time, we'll be chatting to JJ Piccinich when he pops by for a few words. But let's have a quick look at where the roster stands currently for the Belfast Giants. Actually, just go do the old-fashioned way and bring up elite prospects. As an advert just pops in there. Goalies. We've got a brand new goalie in Tom McCollum. We'll be speaking to him later. But coming back with Jackson Whistle and, of course, the stalwart that is Andrew Dixon. In defence, Gabe Bast is back with us. Jeff Baum and Cameron Pound also back. Josh Roche is back, and a new name in Zach Galambus. And then we look at the forwards. Good to see Elijah Barriga come back into the side. Joe Cassetti's a new name. Scott Conway was the name that was on everybody's lips in the at the end of this last season as to whether he would return. He is back with us. Coops is back in the lineup. Ben Lake, Kieran Long, and the man who will be joining us shortly is back, JJ Piccinich. I'll start with you, Davey. From that lineup, obviously the likes of Collins, Piccinich coming back, Gabe Bast coming back, draws the eye. But for you, where are the standouts there?
I really like Tom McCollum. Someone whose career I've watched. Interestingly, I was chatting in Coventry, I think it was maybe about February time, to Davy Phillips, who also played with him back in the day when he was on his little North American tour. And I'd asked him because Tom came in to the Red Wings, as you me, Red Wings fan. Tom came in there many years ago, and just at the same sort of time as Jimmy Hard got going. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what sort of all-star career Jimmy Hard had, and just became hard for McCollum to get NHL time, and he dodged about through the lower leagues. But he should be a standout goaltender. The back end, it's obvious to try and focus in on Basti coming back after what he'd done the previous season. I like Galambos. I like the size there, another big body at the back end, and up front, as you've already mentioned, Elijah Barriga. We never really got to see what he could do at the 4 Champions Hockey League games under his belt at the start of last season. We'd seen him, obviously, in Scotland the year before. Did really well. Giants have took a chance on him. And unfortunately for him, it took a really bad injury and ruled him out for the season. But, he comes back in after rehabbing and hopefully rehabbing well, and he'll be chomping at the bit to get going. Simon maybe had been talking to him and knows better just how desperate he is to get back on the ice. But, got to be careful. He doesn't have a point to prove, but he'll want to get his career back on track. So, he'll be expecting, well, we hope he hits the ground running for sure.
I'll stick on that point, says, and I'll come to you, regards to Elijah Berg. It was, nobody wanted to see his season end the way that it did right at the very start of last season. And Davy says he doesn't have a point to prove, but maybe in his own head, he'll want to get out there. He'll want to hit the ground running. He'll want to show what he could have brought last season.
Yeah, well, he came over to Belfast for. He had to go and see the knee doctor again after, I think it was about early March. So he was there for a couple of games at the arena. He looked in great shape. He's been really working hard to get back to fitness again. I know he's really looking forward to basically getting back on the ice here in Belfast. And I think it's a player, Davy just touched on it there. We obviously didn't see anywhere near what he's capable of, and I'm really looking forward to getting Eli back again. Really good guy in the room as well. But obviously, we only got him. He was hanging around for a while after the injury and stuff as well. And you don't see the best of people in those circumstances because you're not really part of the team. You're the guys obviously had him around, but he's not going on the road with you. He's not, he's not on the ice with you. And he should just stand about in the arena, and you're not really getting to see and experience what everybody else experienced on the ice. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what Briga can bring next season. But again, when you're talking the whole way through that roster, you can't just dismiss Scott Conway. That is massive for us. You see all these other clubs and all these other fans basically going, he can't do this and he can't do that and he can't do the other. He's the best player in the league 2 years ago. He went away to a higher level and playing Slovakia. It was near a point to player or point to game over there as well. Collins is all for it, and he is absolutely busting to get back as well. So he had an injury last season as well, played through the injury, had a bit of a, got it sorted at the end of the year as well. So he's going to come back and he's going to be ready to go. So I really like what Adam, Steve, and the coaching staff have done so far. I think it's very, very exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what two, I don't want to say kids, but 25 and 27-year-old Galambos and Cassetti can do. Davy said it, two big bodies, two guys that just throw the weight about. NCAA, the first time coming into play pro, they'll be well up for it as well. So it's exciting times. It's still only June, 12th of June. Didn't really want to point it out, but I got shouted at yesterday in the office by saying it's only 9 weeks away before training camp. So we're trying to, everybody keeps on thinking, no, everybody's on a summer break. It's not the case. We're working hard in the arena to get everything ready. We had a big meeting today regarding getting everything done for next season. So it's all systems go.
One of the big things, Davy, as well, is obviously British players. You look at our, we've got, Jackson Whistle, Cameron Pound. You've got Scott Conway, you've got Kieran Long. Obviously, Sean Norris has now gone to the Guildford Flames, and we've seen in the last couple of days that Davy Phillips has gone home to play in Hull. But so picking up replacements or picking up British players to sort of fill out the roster will be a big thing in the coming weeks.
Simon's already touched on it there. We've picked up the best British player in the league in Scott Conway, so that's that's a bonus.
Good start.
But I'm sure there's some up and coming players. British players are always going to be a premium in this league when you're trying to compete at the top level of the league. A lot of these young British guys now come in, they can go and play in the league below as NIHL. Anthony Russell will be watching. I'm sure he'll know better. It's a standard now that they can go and get significant ice time as opposed to coming and maybe playing third line minutes, fourth line minutes, and not really developing their career much more than being that add-on player. So is there young guys looking out there to come in and try and take that step up to the elite league? I don't know. How many do you say we've got there? We've got there so far.
Jackson Whistle, Cameron Pound, Scott Conway, Kieran Long.
15 imports and 5 Brits, so there'll be a move somewhere there. Have we anybody from last year's roster that we're missing that hasn't been announced yet? There, I'm just closing my eyes to try and think of.
From a British perspective, no, because obviously Sean Norris is gone, and Davy Phillips has gone back to Hull.
Yeah, so I'm sure. Well, the feelers will be out there.
Let's go the old school
way.
Whistle, Davy Phillips, Cameron Pound, Ben Lake with him, Kieran Long, Sean Norris. So no, We don't. That sort of covers.
So I'm sure Steve and Adam have got their feelers out in and around the British game there to see what's available. Sorry, just taking a pair of socks off here. Very professional. But yeah, it'll be there'll have to be more bodies in there to make up a game night roster. So I'm sure it's watch this space. There's Anthony. Sorry, he just came on there. There's tons ready for the chance. Got to take the chance on them. Time for Keefe to be brave, sign a guy, and play the players to their skill set, not make another generation of grinders. If anybody knows but absolutely buy to Anthony's opinion on the lower leagues and the British talent that's in it, because he's over the detail much more than I'll ever be. But there's so he believes there's guys in that lower league, and there probably is guys that could step up, but whether they want to step up and whether teams are willing to take the chance to stick a brick guy in the top 6, probably not, because if you've got 15 imports, you're probably your top 6 and your top 4D are going to be imports, unless they're at the very premium end of the British game. GB internationals and the likes of Scott Conway, who missed out on the Worlds there. Obviously,
Garside's been thrown up there as one of the other British players, and then you've got the likes of Kel Beattie and Max Stewart and stuff, sort of plowing their way in the NHL and hoping to get back into an elite league side. Defensively, says you're the big man for that. Gabe Bass coming back in is excellent. Jeff Baum coming back. Do you know what? It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I was kind of surprised. I thought he might have kicked on to somewhere else, but I'm just delighted he's back.
Listen, we made a big push to keep Bomber. You don't want to lose your VIP and your MVP at the end of the season. I was thinking VIP, which is his dad, obviously. I don't know he's watching. No, Jeff Senior. The MVP from the players' point of view, from the coaching point of view, and from the fans' point of view last year was Jeff Baum. He was absolutely brilliant, and Steve and Adam went out and made a push for him very, very early, even before the end of the season. So it's when you have that type of player about you, and I think Bomber will be, he'll be looking forward to getting back, and was disappointing the way his season ended. He had the injury towards the end of the season and missed the playoffs. So it was disappointing to lose him, and I think Bomber will come back with a fire in a belly as well. So great to have Jeff Baum back. Really looking forward to getting Gabe Bass back as well. Basti went and got a job, realized that it's not all it's made out to be when you have to go to work for 7, 8, 9 hours a day instead of going to practice for an hour and a half, going to the gym for an hour, having some lunch, having a nap, and then doing it all again the next day. So
sounds all right to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd take that all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. But Basti, really looking forward to getting Gabe back again. And I say, Galambos and Josh Roach as well. Roachy's an important player for us. You seen what we started to play better just before Christmas when Roachy came back last season. So, he's got a lot to offer. Hopefully he can get a full season under his belt as well. And, the young lad Compound, when he came on and played, he didn't let anybody down. But with the numbers that we had last year, it's difficult that Adam had to leave him out a couple of times. But hopefully, as I say, we're still quite a few players to sign. Not a bucket load left, in fairness to, but it's really, really interesting as the roster's lining up there right now.
Davy, before we got JJ waiting, but before we do, give your take on Bomber coming back in.
Yeah, a bit like Elijah. Bomber missed the tail end of the season with that injury, so hopefully he's rehabbing well over the summer and he comes back in, ready to go again. You talked about. You thought he might have kicked on the other things. Like he's on a real, what's the terminology, Paddy? When you're on an
upward trajectory.
Trajectory is the very word. He's on a really positive trajectory in his career. He's came on season after season after season. He's improved as a player, and off the ice, what he brings to the club's obviously superb. His dad's obviously watching, so he texted me to say all those things.
Do you know what, David? Just to jump in there, he loves Belfast.
And this is the thing.
He loves the city. His mum and dad love the city. Jamie loves the city as well, and he gets it. That's a big. A lot of people don't think about that. He gets it, and that's why he was given the A last year. He's a leader in that locker room now, so he's a great player to have around, and great guy, even better. Great player, even better guy. So, I think it's a really, really top signing. Probably one of the most important we're going to make this whole season.
One of the politest people you'll just ever meet. Just such a nice guy around the place. And, really, really glad to have him back. And as Simon said, they're getting the alternate captaincy last season. Very, very well deserved as well. So let's hope he comes back fighting fit here for training camp, and let's get roaring at the start of the season. Yeah, but the other thing, just to say, Simon nailed it there as well about Josh Rhodes. Josh obviously missed right up till it was into December. Was it the Cup game, his first game back, or maybe in and around? It was early December, wasn't it?
Yeah, early December.
So with the end of the season under his belt, there a rest over the summer and coming in with a good training camp, and he'll be ready to go in September. Like, he logged some minutes towards the end of that season. Like, he was the leader in ice time and half a dozen, more or less, the last half dozen games. Really relied on by Adam to go and log those big minutes and be a leader on the ice. So him coming back is another big feather in the cap for us, for sure.
The roster is already looking strong. We'll have Adam Keefe come along later in the show, and we'll come back to this point. But I'm going to introduce our first guest, back with the Belfast Giants. He's a man who's no stranger to trophies. An OHL champion, a CHL Memorial Cup champion, a Kelly Cup champion, an ECHL All-Star, and this is before we even get to the year that he spent with us, where he was a first-team All-Star. He had the best plus-minus. He was a league champion, a cup champion, forward of the year, most assists, most goals, most points in the Elite League, and he was the player of the year. So then he went to Norway.
It's his birthday.
And it's his birthday. Then he went to Norway. He got the most points in the first season there, and he was on the All-Star team. So what I will say is happy birthday, JJ Piccinich, and no pressure.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Turn your phone on.
Accent. Oh. Am I the wrong way here?
That'll do. There we go.
There we are.
Listen to the Northern Ireland accent, boys.
Oh, cool. Well, let's hear it, JJ.
Hasn't left him.
So I think I have a better impression of it. Like, I could do the impression. Like, I can do like my right noise. I can do my right noise.
That's not bad whatsoever.
Well, see, my girlfriend is obviously Northern Irish, so I'm always hearing it. So it's come second nature now.
Well,
here, Paddy, before
the 8 years young. Hold on, go on, Davy.
Oh, well, just on that, JJ. Like, we talk about the recruitment assets of the organization and what we can offer a team, but we joke about it so many times. One of our biggest selling points that we've ever had is the women of Northern Ireland, because so many guys have came here, met their partners, come, never leave.
Yeah, well, just add me to the list, I guess.
Zoe must be sitting in the corner waiting for him to say something.
Must be. Just he's being watched. He's being closely watched. He has to say nice things now. JJ, you're back 2 seasons in Norway. How did it go?
It's fantastic. I really loved Norway, like, start to finish. Honestly, it's honestly a beautiful country. I don't know if you guys have ever visited there, Oslo maybe, but it's actually a really awesome place to live. So it was tough in some ways saying bye to Norway, but I also had 2 really good years on the ice there as well. So we weren't able to go too far in the playoffs, which sucked, but it was still time well spent. So as maybe some of my, I know, as Kiefer would say, that it's time to come back home. So I'm back home.
Norway's a beautiful country. The fjords and all, the lovely trip up the fjords when there's absolutely stunning, Pulpit Rock and all that. But what was the difference? What was the difference in style playing in that Norwegian game?
Yeah, I think it's probably, I mean, it's hard to always like pinpoint exactly what it is, and it's a fair question that you're asking, but I do think the rosters in general are a bit younger. So I think our average age last year on my team was maybe 23. So I think what comes with that is maybe a bit more pace, but not always there's more speed and there's more pace to the plays, but there isn't always it's not always the smartest play, I guess, is being made. And that's not a knock on anyone, but it's just kind of there's a lot of hard work and fast paced, but not always a pick your head up first play. I think here is maybe even slightly slower, but there's more maybe, critical thinking out there on the ice. So it's a bit slower, but becomes a bit more of a chess match. And like, I do say that with a grain of salt. Like it is like every game is different. Every year is different. Every season different. So, but no, that's a fair question. That's the best way I could maybe put it.
So apart from the good lady, what was the one thing that got you back to Belfast?
Oh, geez. I think just the organization and like the fans and the excitement and the SSE and just really the fans. Like I think it's just a great place to play. Like, you know what I mean? Belfast is just an awesome city, and I'm glad I was able to familiarize myself with it, because now it's just feels like a second home to me. So
JJ, I know your mum and dad were here last month, or was it the end of April, actually? And I know you're heading back to the US tomorrow. But how's your stay been off the ice? Obviously, you're on a holiday at the minute, but how have you enjoyed being home for the last 7 or 8 weeks?
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been here for a while now, actually, but like my parents were able to come out, and you actually met them, Kitchie, and we showed them around the SSC quickly and brought them around, and they absolutely loved it. They can't wait to come back. So my time here was awesome. And I mean, before you know it, it's going to be, another 2 months or whatever it goes by, or whatever it is, and then we'll be back, and then the season starts. Like it goes by probably a little bit too quick this summer, but like it's just going to fly by, and my time here was great, and I'll be back before you know it. So yeah.
I know you had a successful season the last time you were here, and there's been a few changes around the arena. I know you were a wee bit taken aback with you were back the previous year as well for a holiday, and as you say, you've been back and forth, but you got a chance to see a locker room, you got a chance to see a few changes, and you were pretty impressed when you came into the arena there that afternoon.
Oh yeah, no, it's like honestly, I was really taken back by like how much had changed in the facilities and in the room. So I'm definitely looking forward to like utilizing all of it and like, using it to my advantage. So I think, and then I know, like, I guess was I here for the new sound system for the charity game? Because I feel like
yes.
I feel like I don't remember it. So that'll be a bit of like the first game at home. I'll be excited, because I feel like I didn't quite like take it in. But I think for opening night this upcoming season, I'll take in the new sound system that you guys put. Well, I guess it's kind of older now, but it's over a year old or whatever now. But that'll feel new. And then just like overall, like just between the facilities and the hype, it just feels great.
What's interesting now, you're coming back into a side. Obviously, you've been in Norway for 2 seasons, as I said, but you're coming into a side which can be quite unusual, especially from an import point of view, where there's a lot of familiarity in there. Scott Conway, Jeff Baum, Coops, who else was Ben Lake, Jackson Whistle, Andrew Dixon. A lot of familiarity. You're coming back into a side with players. A lot of players. Yes, there will be new faces, but a lot of players you've already played alongside.
100%, and I think that's kind of the advantage of having a good core group, is I'll probably be able to just come back in and not really feel like I missed like a beat, so and that's a credit to just the organization, just keeping a good core. And like I'll just be able to just come in and hopefully just have a seamless transition back in again and just like get going straight away. Every game is so important with the way our league is set up, and the regular season is so huge. So I mean, like just being able to have that quick transition and be familiar and like roll right into the season is a big part.
So heading back across the Atlantic tomorrow, what's the next sort of this month, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever, before you make it back? What does it look like for you? Any time off?
Yeah, sometime off. I've been actually doing lots of training while I was here in Northern Ireland. So I have to be at a buddy's wedding of mine. My buddy Mason Marchman, he plays with Dallas. He's getting married in Mexico, so I'll be there to watch him get married and celebrate with him. So I was hoping maybe he would actually go to the Stanley Cup final, maybe win the cup, and then next thing you know, I'm having his wedding with the cup, but that's okay. yeah, so I'll be doing that, and then other than that, just ramping up the ice time, skating, training more, and it flies by. So it'll just be, next thing you know, it'll be August, and then I'll just be back here.
I know you talked about Keefe earlier, and obviously, we went on the year after you left. We went on and won the treble this past season. A lot of injuries for the club. Ended up with trophy lists for the first time in Davy 6 years, 5 years. And I know Adam's going to be wanting to get back onto another trophy for that cabinet, which we have in the arena itself now. And I know you're not going to be any different. There's 3 trophies up for grabs. And I know you've got that mindset to basically take one at a time and do your very best to contribute along with your teammates to get the trophies back to Belfast.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, that's our goal. And I mean, I think the way I was saying it earlier when I was getting asked similar questions is, like, I don't want to take a step back from when I was here last time. So if we won 2 out of the 3 last time I was here, that's the bar set for me. So that's where we're at. And however many wins we had that year, that's the standard for me. So we have to just, we're obviously, yeah, like you mentioned, like, the Giants are coming off a trophyless season, which sucks. Like, like, there's no easy way to say it. Like, it sucks. And, the fans expect, a lot, and they're just right. So, like, it's, we have to just put our heads down, get back to work, one game at a time, one trophy at a time, however you want to word that. And I think the key will be in the preparation. Like, there's no pressure if you prepare the right way. It's, if anything, there's pressure to prepare the right way, and then from there, everything takes care of itself. So I think that's kind of the mindset.
Well, listen, mate, it's really good to see you back. Really good to have you on. We look forward to the start of the season. We look forward to seeing you back on the ice scoring goals for this great club. Have a great summer, and we'll catch up with you again once it all kicks off.
Good back on here.
Good to have you. Thanks, JJ.
Cheers, JJ.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, guys, appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Big thanks to JJ Piccinich for coming back on and joining us. Great to have him back. Great to have that goal scoring prowess back in the club. But gentlemen, when it comes to those forwards, we've got another one to announce. A guy's a versatile winger with elite league experience. The new name on the roster for the Belfast Giants is Please welcome Kyle Osterberg. How are you doing, mate?
Thanks. Good. How are you guys?
Good. Welcome to the Belfast Giants. How does the opportunity to move from Fife to Belfast come about?
Well, first, I'm pretty, I wouldn't say really close, but I know George Awada. We both come from Minnesota, so we had that connection from the start. And he played in Belfast for many years, so he gave me a lot of good things about what Belfast is about, the city, the organization, just the lifestyle there. And so that's kind of how we got the ball rolling with a lot of that, was me and George's connection.
You obviously came into Fife off a season in DEL2 with Regensburg. Funnily enough, who Tom McCollum's just coming from us to us from. Sorry. How did you feel last season with Fife went? Obviously, a lot of changes in Fife, and the great Tom Coolan in the locker room as well. How did you feel it went?
We had a pretty good season, I would say. Being in Fife, we gave the fans there a lot of hope back into the club. I think we had a group that didn't perform more than I think we could have been. I think we had a lot more capability than what we ended up in the standings. We were playing some really good hockey. Went through a couple injuries, a tough December stretch, but overall, I think the team in Fife the past season that we just brought back a lot of hope to the club and to the fans that support Fife.
Kyle, really nice talking to you. Welcome to Belfast. You obviously have had your opportunities to play in the Odyssey or the SSE as a visiting player. You'll be looking forward to getting in and seeing that home dressing room and skating out the home entrance.
Oh, for sure. I think Belfast was my favorite trip last season, even though taking the ferry isn't always the best. But but
a bit more
playing in front of that, playing in front of that crowd is fun. It's going to be way more exciting to be on the positive side now, having them cheer for me. But yeah, that building is electric. It makes you feel like you're back in a professional environment, just with the way the rink is, the facility itself, and then just having that atmosphere. It's going to be fun, and I like that building a lot. I think I had some good success there too this past season, so I think I can keep that going.
Yeah, you beat me to the drop bar. It says Brooksy used to say, if you can't beat them, sign them. So yes, you did have a lot of success in Belfast there last season. So you'll really be looking forward to putting up some good numbers in front of those big crowds that we've been pulling in.
Yeah, for sure. I had a pretty good season, I'd say, last year, and I don't expect anything other than what I did, maybe a little bit more even than what I did last year. But I'm excited with what the group we have signed so far, Kiefer and everybody's direction of how this team is going to play and perform every night, and everything they've been trying to instill and tell me of what it is to be a Belfast Giant. I'm looking forward to that, and obviously individually I want to perform as best as I can and help the team as best as possible, but I want to be in a championship winning environment, and I think we're heading in that direction.
Kyle, obviously coming out of college, you've spent quite a bit of time in Europe, and you've spent, like in Norway, you've been in Germany, you've been in Slovakia, Denmark. What's your thoughts on the IHL? What's your opinion on British hockey? And you're playing obviously in Fife of this year, and I agree with you. I thought you had a really, really great season, especially against us. Every time you sort of get on the ice, there was a threat, and obviously that's caught the eye off Steve Thornton and Adam Keefe. But what's your thoughts on the standard in the EIHL?
Well, first off, you can totally say that I've been a suitcase my professional career. I've seen almost every country, but with that coming, I get a lot of good experiences. Comparing the Elite League to the rest of the countries, I think it's a really good league. I don't think it gets the recognition that people should give it. There's so many talented players. The style of play is, I would say, more North American too, where it's pretty structured and more physical. Every league has its differences in just their structure, or just it's also different that we have 17 imports instead of maybe just a couple. But I think the EHI or the EIHL stacks up as one of the better leagues that I've played in, because there's no night off against any team necessarily.
You just touched on the physicality in the league. You're in stature wise, you're not the biggest guy on the ice, but you never seem to, from when you played against us anyway, and the games you see the highlights on, you never seem to shy away from it. So you certainly don't mind getting. We know you're a very, very skillful player, but you certainly don't mind putting your body about when it has to be done as well.
No, I appreciate you saying that too. That's kind of how I grew up living. I feel like I've always been one of the smallest, if not the smallest players on the ice. So a lot of it is just out competing or doing whatever you can as a smaller player to have an advantage, or just outworking anybody. I find it enjoyable too to be engaged in those battles. Maybe not so much fighting, because obviously I'll probably get my head pounded in. I'm not the biggest guy, so I can't do that. But I'm not afraid to throw my body around. I'm not afraid to find the front of the net or go to battles in the corners for sure.
Your NCAA career in Minnesota Duluth, you always have that organization. That college has had a lot of success over the years, and coming out of there with the names that were on that roster, you play with some really top players, and obviously they're going on and going strength to strength in the NHL. That must have been an experience for you for obviously playing at that level too.
Being at Minnesota Duluth was some of the best years of my life, and like you said, I had a lot of good players come and go that I played with. So I mean, in a blessing way, it helped me prepare to become a better player each and every day. But it's also been nice that I have some really good friendships and see that they continue on in their career, whether it's in the NHL or in the AHL or somewhere even here over in Europe. But it's definitely good to see that the UMD Bulldogs have a lot of talent that have been going through the program year after year.
It's interesting, like from an NCAA perspective, and obviously with the Friendship Four and what we hold in Belfast and the tournament that will be back come November, the guys who come out of the programs, they still hold, and you just showed it there yourself, they still hold a real passion for the colleges that they played for. It's something that you can play for. You said you lived in a suitcase. I'm sure you've got loyalty to a lot of the clubs that you've played for before, but you do move on to the next game, to the next team or whatever, but you still hold that passion, you still hold that love for the college that you spent those years with.
Yeah, I think that's something pretty special, especially being a Minnesotan, going to a Minnesota school. A lot of the players from where I grew up, they go to the University of Minnesota, where I wanted to go to the University of Minnesota Duluth, which is 2 hours north of where I live in the cities. And like you said, yeah, I think I don't know exactly what it is, but I think you just find a love for your sport, for your program, for your college, and every year I follow along, even though I don't know anybody that's on the team other than the staff and the coaches that I dealt with. You're still always rooting them on and watching, and watching them along.
And obviously, not to dwell, but you also played a couple of seasons with Adam Johnson there, and a hell of a player he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually just got back from Duluth. We're doing a Adam Johnson Memorial Night that Duluth is going to be doing. We created some jerseys that what I saw. Obviously, a lot of the teams in the EIHL did this year is they do the warm up jerseys and they auction them off. So I just got back from Duluth, and we kind of came together. I put this idea together that we do some Adam Johnson Memorial Night jerseys that we're going to auction off after the end. But yeah, it's obviously the most tragic thing that probably has happened in my life. And there's some hard shedded tears when I knew exactly what happened and what was going down. But then on the opposite side, it was awesome that the community, whether it was the hockey community, the country of the UK and everywhere, even back home, just how much his story and obviously just the incident that touched around the world, and we were able to memorize Adam, the way he was, his character, and the player he was too.
Well said, mate. Well said. Absolutely. So what do the next couple of months hold for you? Obviously, we'll be looking forward to having you here in Belfast. Are you on the ice? Are you spending all the time? Are you working off on someone else? Or what between now and Belfast will fill your time?
So I'm pretty much on the ice every day. I'm a rink rat. I love skating. I think that's always been instilled in me when I was younger. I loved being on my skates, just trying to get better in any way possible. I still work out and do all that stuff too, but I like to skate a lot. And then a lot of it too, the summers, I help coach. It's just something I've been always doing. There's a really good program back here in Minnesota called MAP South that I've been with since I was 5 years old, and we help kids ages from 11 all the way to the pro group that I skate with. So we got some good players. Like during the weeks I skate with, just to name drop, not to be a name drop or anything, but Brock Besser's out there with us, Casey Middlestat, Mikey Anderson, Joey Anderson, Kiefer Bellows, TJ Oshie, Kyle Oposo, a lot of Minnesotans that come back and skate with us. So I definitely have a lot of good skates, and I'm very fortunate that I get to do that with all those high caliber NHL players.
Fantastic. What a way to spend your summer. Listen, Cal, we're delighted to have you. I know that given your season in Fife, you were a well sought after talent to have within this league. Sorry, says you want one more question, go for it.
Yeah, obviously you've done fantastic listening to our accents. But obviously you've just come out of Fife, and we know how hard the Kingdom of Fife accent is as well. So hopefully our accents aren't that bad. But just to make you aware, there are some good ones here as well for the start of next season. You will be going, excuse me, sorry, don't understand. So just to give you a heads up for that.
I appreciate that. The one thing I said,
Dicko.
What's that?
And that's just Dicko.
Oh, I don't even know what that was, but yeah, I mean, going from country to country, it was nice last year actually having majority of the English in the locker room. So going into this year again, it's going to be obviously majority English too. Yeah, I'm not afraid to ask you. Sorry, excuse me, what'd you say? But I'm also curious to learn or try to get the slang down. But yeah, we're excited to get to Belfast. It's probably one of the most exciting summers leading into a year that I've ever had as a pro.
Fantastic. Well, as I said, Kyle, given the season you had with Fife, you were a sought-after talent within this league, and as Belfast Giants fans as we are, we're glad that you're part of our roster coming into this forthcoming season. Have a great summer, and we will see you on the ice in a little over 6-7 weeks' time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and I'm really excited, obviously, again, to be a Belfast Giant, meet all the fans, meet everybody that's affiliated with Belfast, and then just getting the season started so we can get the fans really excited about going for that the 3 sweep.
Nice one, mate. Have a good summer.
You too.
Thanks, Kyle.
Big thanks and a big thanks and a welcome to Kyle Osterberg. We are battling on here, boys, because one of the other signings that took place over the last few days was the signing of a brand new goalkeeper in Tom McCollum. I had the opportunity earlier today to chat with him. He obviously is coming to us from Germany, from Eisbären Ravensburg. This is one of the teams that was played, I think Kyle Osterberg played for 2 seasons ago. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that interview with you now. Tom, welcome to the Belfast Giants. I guess the first question, as it normally is in this sort of situation, is how does the opportunity come about that you come and join us in Belfast?
First of all, I'm very excited to join the club. I've heard nothing but great things about them. The opportunity actually came up probably it was mid-April during the playoffs. Adam just reached out to me just to see if it was someplace I'd be interested in playing in the future, and we just kind of struck up a conversation from there, kept in touch, and he made it very clear that I was wanted there, and made me a great offer that I couldn't refuse.
You were playing in Germany at the time in DEL2. Went quite a long stretch in the playoffs.
Yeah, we ended up winning the championship here, so it was a long season, but it was great because it meant we got to play more hockey, which is always fun, and winning never gets old.
You played in Austria and around those sort of Bavarian sort of region as well. What's it been like playing out there? What's it been like? Because obviously that was your first move to Europe from North America. Well, how have you enjoyed playing in Europe?
I've really enjoyed it. I mean, the schedules are great. You get to live in some beautiful places. I know my wife really loved it in Innsbruck. And we had a great time, obviously, with the mountains. It was actually very helpful during some of the COVID lockdowns. Gave you a nice respite to get outside and get some fresh air. And even here in Regensburg, the city's beautiful. There's a lot to do outside, and we really enjoy being able to bike places and get around instead of having to hop in your car and drive everywhere.
Innsbruck's fab. I think I've asked this of a number of players before who've played in places like that. I guess that because you're under contract, you can't do I'm a big skier. I love skiing. And I guess you don't get time to do things like that because you don't want to get injuries.
They actually had it in our contracts very explicitly that we weren't allowed to ski during the season.
Oh, that would drive me wild.
Where I grew up, there's not really anywhere to go skiing, so I'd actually never skied before in my life, but my wife had. So we did go. Can't remember. I think it was the end of my first year in Innsbruck. We went skiing twice, and it was a bit of an adventure. At the end of my second season, we had my daughter, so that obviously wasn't an option. So I just have those 2 times, but I can definitely see why people love it. It was a lot of fun and some beautiful scenery. It was really nice to get outside and do.
While you were there, while you were in Innsbruck, you got a bit of time to step up into the DEL. What was that experience like?
It was a great experience. I was really excited for the opportunity to go to Bietigheim and get to play in that league. It was just really great to see how you measured up, and it's also a lot of fun. There's a lot of guys playing in that league that I've played with previously, so it was good to see them and catch up.
What sort of goalie are you, Tom? How do you see yourself?
One that likes to stop the puck.
As simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I try to use my size to my advantage.
Yes.
Play, maybe a little bit more calm than some guys do. I try not to move any more than I need to. One thing, hopefully the fans can forgive me for some heart attacks, but I do like to play the puck a lot. I've heard that just about everywhere that I've played, that I need to stay in the net, but it's something I really enjoy doing. It helps keep me in the game, and it helps save my defenseman from taking some hits, and it's just a fun thing to do as well.
Do you know anybody who's played in this league? Do you know much about the Elite League?
I know some. I've actually played with and against quite a few guys that have played in the league, and I've heard a lot of great things about it. I've heard, especially Belfast, I've heard a lot of great things about the city. Obviously from Adam, having previously played with him for a little bit, and there's several guys throughout the league that I've played with before.
Let's just have a quick question, because I'm going to put my cards on the table here. I'll put this hat on, and let me take you back and the opportunity you had to play in the great shirt with the wheeled wing with the Detroit Red Wings. How was that?
It was a fantastic experience. I was fortunate enough to get in the 3 games that I did play and actually pick up a win, which was one of the highlights of my career. It was even better, actually. It was against Buffalo, so the team I grew up cheering for, on a nationally televised game. So I had a lot of family and friends got to see that, which was a great experience. And just even being able to walk into that locker room, especially back then they were playing at the Joe, and just all of the history in the building. And my first time I got called up was extremely intimidating. I think it was only my second year pro, and a lot of the guys in that locker room had more than one Stanley Cup, and there's probably at least 3 surefire Hall of Famers on that team. Probably a couple more guys in the future, and but it was just a great experience to be in the NHL and see how hard you have to work to get to that level. And just also the other thing too is just people don't talk about it enough. A lot of those guys, just how great of people they are. Like they've made their millions of dollars. They're world-class, all-time talents playing hockey. And, I walk in the door and they just came up, say hi, like shake my hand, ask me how I'm doing. Just like I was one of the guys on the team. Was a really cool experience.
That's interesting, because obviously a lot of those guys, like you say, they're world-class superstars playing at the top of the game, but they'll have generally gone through the same sort of experience as you have. They'll have played junior, they'll have played NCAA, that have walked their way through, that have tried to get their way up into that game. So I guess when you get there, it's nobody's guaranteed to stay there. I guess you be good to people on the way up as if you want to be people to be good to you on the way down.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it too is, like you said, everybody's kind of gone through that grind to get there in one way or another. So I think it's just kind of a mutual respect, because you meet somebody in that situation, you understand the amount of time that they've put in to get to that level, and the work, and honestly the sacrifices too. So I think a lot of it's the mutual respect, and I think some of it too is just it's hard to get that far without being a good person. You need a lot of help from a lot of people that, quite frankly, never get that credit or recognition. And it's just one of those things that is great to see out in the world, just people being kind to each other, because that's just the way it should be.
How difficult is it when you're in that sort of situation where, you've played AHL, ECHL, you got that chance in the show, but when you're sort of moving from team to team and you're moving up and moving down, you're just how difficult is it to deal with those changes?
Some of it's situational. Obviously the start of my career, when I was by myself, it wasn't too hard, because I was only responsible for myself. So it's just kind of one of those, you almost have a kind of like a secret agent. You almost have a go bag packed at all times and ready to go. But as I progressed in my career, like especially my last year I played in North America, I think I played on 4 or 5 different teams. Just getting loaned, moved. I got traded in there, but she was my girlfriend at the time. Now my wife was with me, and it was obviously a lot more challenging. Thankfully, she was actually there. She made it so much easier, because I think every time I had to move cities, I was actually on the road. So I just called to give her a heads up. And by the time I got home, everything was packed, and we just had to figure out how to get where we're going. But it's something you just you learn to live with. It is kind of crazy how, one phone call and all of a sudden you're going to the other side of the continent that you weren't really planning for, which, I really only had to pose a problem one time. I was in Toronto for the playoffs with Grand Rapids, and somebody got hurt in Detroit. So I had to fly from Toronto to Anaheim.
It's a hell of a flight to do it at spur of the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the long flight wasn't bad, but the problem was, I don't know how much you know about U.S. weather, but Toronto in April is a little bit different than
Absolutely. Were you always going to be a goalie, Tom? Was it always something that when you were a kid, you were the goalie, or how did it come about? Because obviously everybody dreams of being Wayne Gretzky, but did you dream of being Martin Brodeur?
For me, actually, growing up in Niagara Falls in New York, I wanted to be Dominic Hasek.
Yeah.
But I always loved it. I always liked watching it. But I actually, when I started playing hockey, initially I was a forward. Then I switched to playing defense. And the only reason I became a goalie was the middle of one of our seasons. Our goalie just decided he didn't want to play anymore. And I sort of got volunteered by the rest of my team to take over, because it was too late in the season to add somebody new. And I guess I was a bit of a kamikaze defenseman. I was known for diving around to block shots. And everybody just volunteered me to take over. And I just really fell in love with the position. I mean, obviously all the gear's always the coolest part, but something I had a lot of fun with and really enjoyed doing. And obviously I'm happy I stuck with it.
For a boy growing up as a Buffalo Sabres fan, wanted to be Dominic Hasek and also got to play for the Detroit Red Wings. That's not bad.
Yeah. I've definitely been very fortunate. The timing actually worked out great. For me, I was actually called up when Detroit went to Buffalo the night that they retired his jersey.
There you go.
So I got to be out there and on the bench, and I wasn't playing, so I was able to kind of sit out there and watch the whole ceremony. And it was really cool to be a part of, but it was also kind of weird because obviously I was there to do a job, but at the same time 10-year-old me was getting a little emotional watching it.
Screaming watching it. Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine. So what's your summer been then, Tom? What do we do now? Because obviously we're a couple of months yet away from the season. Have you been skating? Where are you now?
Right now, my family and I are still in Regensburg. So I've been training here for a couple of weeks. we're also in the middle of packing to get some of our stuff shipped over to Belfast. And then at the end of the month, we're going to fly back to the US. And we're going to stay in Michigan for a month so I can continue my training, get on the ice with a goalie coach to get some good work in there. And then we don't have anything booked yet, but I believe the end of July, we're going to be flying into Belfast and ready to go.
Fantastic. Well, listen, we really appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you in Belfast for the start of the season. Have a great summer, and we'll catch up with you when the season begins.
Thank you. You too. And I look forward to meeting everybody.
Big thanks to Tom McCollum for joining us. Really nice guy. Great career. New goalkeeper joins us for the new season. Great pedigree behind him. And with that, we're going to batter on even further, because one of the men who is a big part in signing these new players and signing this new roster and bringing together a team that he hopes will win trophies for the Belfast Giants is, of course, the head coach of the Belfast Giants, Mr. Adam Keefe. How are you doing, Keefer?
Not bad. How are you guys?
Doing really well. How's your summer been? Busy?
Busy enough, yeah. But obviously, we like the direction the team is looking right now. Even the whole league looks pretty good, and that's exciting for us, just as hockey fans here in the UK, but also the challenges that lie ahead of us come the new season.
Let's start with the new name that we've just been speaking to in Kyle Osterberg. Obviously, a player who at the Five Flyers last season caught quite a few eyes with regards to the teams across the league. How happy are you that it's our uniform he'll be wearing come next season?
Yeah, no, he's a big get for us. I'd spoken to Kyle a few times in summers, and obviously we should have brought him in. It would have helped us out last year. Instead, Tom did a good job in building a good team there in Fife, and he came in and impressed. And George didn't stop letting me know about it all year long. So, it was obviously George is a big factor, and really, he said nothing but great things there about Kyle. And then when we get to see him there, I remember the first game we watched video there doing a pre-scout on Fife, and I remember watching Kyle forecheck and going like, who's that guy? And I just kind of stopped it and slowed it down. I said, well, that's George's boy, and yeah, he doesn't stop moving his feet, and the way that I am when I'm watching video on guys scouting, like that is exactly what I want to see. I want to see guys hunting on the forecheck and nonstop moving their feet and playing with intensity and energy. And so we saw that from early on from Kyle, and then obviously he had a great season offensively with Fife. He's a big part of all the success that they had, and I listened there to his interview there, and there really was a real positive, feeling there from the Fife organization and fans, one more so than I've seen of recent years. And I think that obviously that's a credit to Kyle and Tom and the team that he built there. And I'm sure that they're going to have another good team next year. But no, we're certainly excited this year to have Kyle on board. And I think he's going to be a good piece. He works real hard. He complements the way that we want to play with an aggressive forechecking style and playing aggressive defensively as well. He's going to fit well into that mold.
I think, to be fair, Agent Dewada was on the podcast last year, and he said it was a big ambition of his to get Minnesota boys into the Giants team. He said it was something that he really wanted to do, and it's worked out well so far.
You said that with some conviction. I really believe it, because there actually has been a lot of Minnesota boys this summer in the recruitment. I'm not sure if George is kind of just sneaking them in or whatnot, but he certainly lets us know when it's one of the Minnesota boys. And there's been a lot of connections there just through Kyle himself and through George. And that's a big connection. Obviously, we knew that George would be good from the development side, and from just the know over there, just in the college system, the type of players, the work that George was doing at home there. He knows a lot of guys, and obviously Kyle's one of those guys, and there's a few other guys that we're looking at, that come through George and Kyle, and so it is a great connection for us to have, and for sure I think George would take a whole team of Minnesota boys. Good.
What about the family, coach? I know it's off season now, but it's still really, really busy for you. But the time for the family, how's things going with the kids?
Yeah, good, busy. Obviously, my wife takes the more of the brunt with the two kids and two young kids. They're a handful, that's for sure. I try and get the work done when I can at the arena, but you always bring work home, and there's the problem is when you get home, you're pretty well full on until the time they go to sleep, and then you're trying to get some work done. But I really look forward to when the time comes where you can kind of take a little breather from the season and just kind of enjoy being a dad. And obviously there's other work to be done with building a team and trying to get organized for the new season. But certainly, when don't have those stresses of always looking forward to the next game or the next practice or the next situation, or dealing with the fires that we have to put out on a weekly basis sometimes. In the summertime, you get to really enjoy just kind of the family life and being a dad. And obviously, if we'd get a little bit better of a summer, it'd be even nicer.
Yeah.
Was it me? Haven't seen you in a while. How are you?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, good. Talk us through the roster so far. Starting with your goalies, obviously you wanted to make sure Jackson get back. Made at the end of a good season last year, and then he did pretty well in the World Championships as well. So obviously your goaltending, the trio that you have there, you must be happy with getting that done and dusted this early in the off season.
Yeah, we got the most important one done, Andy Dixon, first right away. We got him, made sure we got him back. He's part of the furniture here in Belfast, and with Dicko, obviously just having a guy. I mean, he is Belfast, right? Like he's the local lad here, and he's the guy he's the glue that kind of keeps everybody going in the room there, and he's good for a laugh, and he's a big help to the goalies, and any chance we get to get him in, we always want to do so. And then with Wiss, he had a fantastic end to the season. He earned every bit of it. He stayed focused and clear-minded for us down the stretch there, and didn't really give me a chance to take a longer look at Besko. Jackson just took that net and ran with it, and I was really happy for him, to earn those playoff games as well, play well in them, and then also gutted for him and the rest of the team that we couldn't get it done there in the final. But certainly we, not just for last year, but Jackson has been a big piece of the puzzle here for a long time, and it was important for us to get him back, not just for the fan base, for the organization, but also for Jackson. He wanted to be here, and I take a lot of stock in that.
Defensively, obviously, you still there?
Yep. You don't want me to talk about Tom?
I wasn't even listening to the first two, so yeah, go ahead, talk about Tom. I'm too busy thinking about my next question, but now you've just spoiled that, so carry on.
Oh, well, I got to finish off the goalies.
Right.
Obviously Tom is a player that when his name came up, pretty familiar with him. I spent time in Toledo and Grand Rapids there my last season, and Tom was a big part of that, playing for both teams. And so I knew him from there, and then obviously I knew the coaches that he's played for and spoke with them, and everybody had great things to say. And then he followed it up by winning a DL2 championships in proper playoff format. So that's impressive as it is. And we wanted to make sure that we got a veteran guy in that's going to work well with our goalie trio, and Tom is exactly that. He's very mature. He's very knowledgeable about the game. He's going to work well with Jackson and Dicko, and I look forward to that trio coming in and doing a great job for us.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. The defensive unit, you've got obviously returning. You've got Bomber, Cameron Pound, and Josh Roach, and you've brought back Gabe Bast as well. But the newcomer, Gil Ambos, what can we expect from him? What have you seen in the scouting reports from him?
Galambos is a guy that I looked at last summer. Obviously there's a little connection there with AIC and Jeff Baum, and Eric Lang's done a great job with his teams there and his players. And, obviously we brought in Jeff Baum, and he's what he did last year speaks for itself. He keeps growing as a person and a player. And he was definitely our most consistent player last year, and he got the accolades for it. Unfortunate to get injured. We also got Barriga from AIC as well. Obviously he went to Dundee, but then he came here. That goes through Eric Lang as well in AIC, a good program. So Galambos, because of that, I was looking at their roster and came across him, and then he went to Western Michigan the last 2 seasons there, and from every coach that I spoke to, not just the ones that played for or that he played for, but coaches that coached against him in the NCAA. Everybody thought he has a great two-way game. He can put up numbers offensively, but more so his reliability on the back end is he's a bigger guy that he angles well. He's got a good stick, and we just think he's going to be a good fit here. Obviously, you have to transition well to pro, and you got to prove it on the ice. But we think that he's got a good frame and a good game and great references to back it up. And we think it was a great chance for us to take on him out of college.
Forwards wise, obviously the big headline name that comes out is the return of Scott Conway. A player who needs no introduction with regards to the Elite League and the achievements that he gained with this club. How big is it that he's come back to us?
Yeah, that's huge. I've said this before, but he's the most competitive player I think that I've coached, maybe even played with. It doesn't mean he's going to go out there and run around trying to finish hits and stuff. There's all sorts of competitiveness, but what I mean by competitiveness is he wants to win at everything. He's a winner, and you couple that with the fact that he's a British player and the importance to this team and in this league, and he's a great addition for us. I expect him to come in and want to pick up and want to be the man right from the start, and we hope that he can obviously replicate the successes he's had here, but he's a big piece of the puzzle. We're very happy to have him back.
We had JJ on earlier on, and one of the points I put to him, obviously you can have a chat about him as well, but one of the points that I put to him is that he's coming into a locker room, especially amongst the forwards, of a lot of familiar faces in Collins and Coops, in Ben Lake, Kieran Long. There's a familiarity to a player who's been away for 2 seasons.
Yeah, no, JJ is a guy I've kept in touch with a little bit here. I knew that he'd always end up back here, obviously, with Zoe being from here. But he loved it here as well, right? He's a player that had aspirations to try to reach as far as he could. He probably could have kept going in Europe. But I think ultimately, he missed it a little bit here. And I thought, and he felt, and I felt it was time for him to come home here. So I'm just really happy that Steve got that done. He kind of got that done in the background there near the end of the season. Those were nice pieces for us to add before we even really got started here in the summer on our recruitment.
And what else? So what else are we looking at? What sort of player are you looking for? What piece of the puzzle needs to come into this side?
We're looking at a bunch of different things. Obviously, when you look at your lineup, you got to look at certain situations, what's left to fill, and the most difficult thing is when there gets down to a couple spots. You might think you need this for that spot, but then a really good player that doesn't quite do that comes available, and then what are you going to pass on them? So it usually becomes best player available, but we are trying to make sure we have the right spots filled and we have a good depth in scoring. We felt we didn't have enough scoring to get it done last year. Ultimately, I think the last 25 games of the year, we got the defensive side of the game kind of settled, and we felt like we were letting in 2 goals or less down the stretch for the majority of games, and we needed to find a way to get 3 to win. And we weren't able to do that for the majority of the playoffs, right? We managed to get to the finals, but 6 goals in 4 games, we don't want that to be the case. So we're looking to add depth our offense, but also become more well-rounded in every position. And that's just the challenge of every summer. We always want to improve and try to identify what we can bring back, and then we want to try and build on the team. We even want to do that after seasons that we've won. So it's no different concept, but also, Sheffield really set the bar last year in terms of a new standard in the league, and that's new for us to be looking at that from the outside and trying to find a way to overcome that next season and set a new standard for ourselves and for the league.
Lastly, for us, is we spoke about this as well earlier on in the show, is British players within the team. Obviously, in the last few weeks, we've seen Sean Norris go to the Guildford Flames, we've seen Davy Phillips head back to Hull. We've seen the return of like Cameron Pound, Jackson Whistle, obviously Scott Conway coming in, but how difficult is it at this moment in time to find maybe new or fresh British talent to bring into the Belfast Giants?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I think most of the British, the top level British players, before the end of the season, are already starting to get swiped up, in the little merry-go-round of British players. But, there's a lot of good young talent that we're looking at and trying to find, whether it be the next Sean Norris. Obviously, it didn't work out here for Sean, but he did a good job while he was here for us. And the reality is we wouldn't have known about Sean Norris if we didn't bring him in here and take a look at him. Yeah. He came in here for a training camp, earned a spot through the exhibition games into Champions League, and then played a big role in the call-ups that we were able to get him here. Yeah. And then ultimately came here full-time last year. We want some young guys to come and do the exact same thing. And, I thought young Mason Alderston did a great job for us last year.
Yeah.
We probably didn't see enough of him, but the games that we did have from Mason last year, the coaching staff thought he did a fantastic job. He was physical. He kind of owned that role of being a third or fourth liner that finishes checks, does his job, and gets off the ice, and then goes back out and does the same thing. He was reliable, really positive on the bench, and that's what we're looking for from our younger guys, to come in and earn a spot and force our hand, and ultimately maybe it leads to a full-time job the following season or whatever. And we're still looking at those options for us to try to have some further depth down the lineup.
One last question. Obviously, we were saying earlier on about how it's 6-7 weeks before training camp starts. What do these 6-7 weeks entail for you, Coach? Is it? Do you get any time off here, or is this hell for leather until the lads arrive?
It's certainly a time off. I mean, like, the season is almost 24/7. It's nonstop. So, and when the season ends, yes, we go hard to work at recruitment and planning for the following season, and that starts. Steve starts that before last season ends. He's the guy you got to hide from to try to get a break, because he's on it. He really wants not just success for last year, but he's already thinking about the next year, and then that's what makes him successful at his job and makes us successful. So, while we work hard on that, there still is a little bit of shut your brain off time, and for us, going into the middle of June where we're at now, we feel we're in a really good spot. There's still a few pieces left to get, but unless the right player becomes available or the right situation, we probably won't make a move there until we're sure on it. And that's it. It becomes about trying to make these tough decisions and who we're going to bring back or who we're going to bring in. And ultimately, you have 8 months. You want to make sure you get these decisions right, so those 8 months go the right way.
Listen, Coach, we really appreciate your time. Well done on the roster so far. Good luck for bringing the rest of the guys in. We're already looking forward to the start of the season. Some great names on there. Some very exciting names coming back. No doubt you're in for a busy few weeks. Hopefully you do get a little bit of time just to relax with the family. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm sure we'll see you around.
Absolutely. Big thanks to Adam Keefe for joining us back here on A View from the Bridge. we're going to start to wrap this show up, mate, lads, because obviously we've had some really good guests on. We've done a lot of talking, but just briefly, and the sun's going down behind Davy. Just briefly, obviously, Kyle Osterberg is the name that we didn't talk about at the start of the show because we hadn't released it, and we got to share that with everybody in this show. Davy, a player, as we've heard, with great skates, great stick handling ability, and could be a really exciting player in the Teal of Belfast.
I guess the one thing that sticks out for Osterberg for me was doing a game with Simon commentating and helping him out on the side, and the amount of times his name was mentioned. He might have been man of the match in one of the ones I did with Simon, but just the amount of times when good things happen for Fife, he was one of the catalysts for it happening. Skates well, doesn't stop. I think Adam mentioned it as well, but moving his feet, he's that all action kind of, and he said it himself when he was in and really positive interview that he did with us there. Looking forward to getting in, looking forward to seeing him play. This league is more and more year after year becoming just, you have to be able to skate, you have to be able to move so well. Gone are the days of these big clunky guys coming in that can't compete in this league anymore. When you look at the Guildford Flames and like Ryan Tate and all the problems that he brings, these smaller guys, as long as they've got good wheels, they're going to do well. So I'm really excited about seeing them in Tate.
Says, what we mentioned, you've had your eyes on and watched him and commentated on him and the ability that he has. An exciting player coming in and a really good, well balanced. This roster so far is already looking really strong.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. We're really pleased the way it's setting up. Osterberg, Davies, basically covered every base there. He stood out for me a lot when we played Fife last year. Every game he was right in there, and obviously he's playing a lot of minutes. He was playing with Troy Resoness and the big centerman. I can't remember his name. That big Latvian, I just can't remember his name. But yeah, they had a lot of success. They scored a lot of goals on the power play, especially. He seemed to thrive on the power play. So I know Adam certainly keeps an eye on it, and we talk about we joke about obviously taking the summer off and getting a bit of time. And listen, Adam, Mace, and George were in the arena again today, and they're there for 5-6 hours, and they're basically doing their homework. And now whether that be George, trying to get a lot of the travel sorted out, or Mace and Adam watching video, but they're literally there every day of the week, trying to do something. So we're not sitting on our laurels. Obviously, last year was, I think it's fair to say, it was disappointing in the end with no trophies for the first time in quite a while. We'll basically be looking to try and get some silverware back to Belfast next year. I know Steve is still working his tail off. He's been away for a few days, but he's still working his tail off to try and add to this roster. And hopefully they can do that over the next couple of weeks and month or so.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's some really good inputs there from Adam Keefe and what he's looking to bring in and what his team's looking at, and the way Steve's doing it as well. He's right, Steve Thornton never stops on this job, does he? Any other business before we wrap up, boys?
Blake's still in hospital. I know he had an operation yesterday. Again, hopefully he's the wee warrior that he is. Hopefully he pulls through, and I know there's been a few other kids who've been poorly over the last while as well. So thoughts with them all, and hopefully we Blake gets better soon, because 8 weeks in hospital again for the kid, it's tough, and Christine's been there every single day. So hopefully they get out very soon, and I'm going to go up and see him this week at some point.
Yeah, our thoughts are with him. Davy, anything from yourself?
Just that I seen on the Twitter from the club yesterday, the day before, running out of time. If you want to get a season ticket for for the games for the upcoming season, be quick. I think it's maybe 10 more days, 2 weeks maybe at the very most, and they're going to close down season ticket sales. Have been. Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
No, your season ticket now. Just want to jump.
That's all. I'm not pumping them for the club or anything, but I'm just saying. I noticed on the Twitter that you've only got a couple of weeks if you want to get that ticket locked down at that astonishing price. Actually, when we'll look across the league at the prices
cheapest in the league
from other clubs, still the cheapest in the league. That's and I love these wee videos the club are doing, actually, Sam, with the McVeighs and young
Saturn Lynch
and different ones that have come on. They've been brilliant. It's really good to see what a season ticket actually buys you, the intangibles of friendship and groups and stuff. That that's how like we all eventually we all started. Paddy, you banging drums on the bridge and meeting people, and I had that top row in block 21 or whatever it was, back row loyal and all back in the day.
You seen him banging a drum and tried to recruit him? That didn't work out well.
No, it didn't work out too well for him. Yeah.
Wrong guy, mate. Wrong guy.
Wrong time.
Just the 1 hour thing. We have an equipment sale tomorrow night at the arena. Check the socials for times. I can't remember. I think it's 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock start. And they sponsored equipment that if you're an OSC sponsored equipment person, you can pick that up tomorrow as well.
Fantastic. Well, listen, big thanks to JJ Piccinich, to Cal Osterberg, Tom McCollum, and of course, Adam Keefe. Big thank you to the number of people who are watching in live. It's the numbers tonight are absolutely phenomenal. So obviously people are missing hockey. So thank you very much to everybody who's tuned in live, and to all those who are watching, who watch it back or listen to us. So currently 2,105.
That's insane.
Remarkable. So big thanks to everybody who's tuned in. And you get us on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter or X. You get us on all your normal podcast providers, kingdomatgiants.com, at AVFTB on Twitter, and all the normal spots. Mr. McGimsey and Mr. Kitchen, a delight to see you. No doubt I'll see you in the coming weeks. Big thanks to everybody out there who've sent us messages and all that sort of stuff. And wherever you are at the minute, we hope you enjoy your summer. And we'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge. Still you rise.